You're tuning in to VNA News Daily Bulletin. Coming up next, we have your top stories. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng chairs government regular meeting. Vietnam exports more than 1 million tons of rice. Vietnam reports no case of Zika virus infection. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng suggested cabinet members raise the nation's GDP growth rate target from 6.7% to 7% in 2016. The leader made the suggestion during a regular cabinet meeting in Hanoi on February 29th.
The Prime Minister highlighted the GDP growth rate of 6.68% as the most noted achievement last year. The figure represents the highest increase since 2008, even higher than the number of 6.5% reported to the National Assembly and the set target of 6.2%. Having noted investment procedures remained inconsistent and complicated, Prime Minister Dũng urged agencies and localities to pay more attention to administrative reform in order to create an optimal environment for investors, while making the best use of trade agreements Vietnam has signed to lure more investments. While stressing $22 billion in official development assistance, or ODA, committed by donors, the government leader calls for greater efforts to speed up ODA disbursements and maximize loans to spur socio-economic development. Regarding taking measures to tackle salient intrusion and drought consequences, he requested the involvement of ministries, agencies, localities, and the entire political system in combating the natural disasters. The leader also asked the Ministry of Health to take countermeasures against diseases in the dry season, and the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to coordinate with localities in preventing salinization in the Mekong Delta.
On February 29th, President of the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee Nguyễn Thiện Nhân received Thomas Opperman, chairman of the Social Democratic Party parliamentary group, who is on a working visit to Vietnam.
The House said Vietnam treasures a strategic partnership with Germany, which was set up in 2011 and has been thriving in areas such as politics, economic cooperation, culture, education, and training. The fatherland leader said he hopes that Opperman will help German parliamentarians and officials understand and support Vietnam at international forums and encourage the flow of German investments in the country. He asked the German government to provide more favorable conditions for Vietnamese students and postgraduates in the EU nation. For his part, Thomas Opperman said one of his country's economic development priorities is increasing overseas investment, including in Vietnam. Projects like Vietnam-Germany University and to-be-formed German-Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry will enhance economic collaboration and German investments in Vietnam.
The same day, Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc hosted a reception for Professor Cambis Gawami, representative of the German state of Hessen and president of the World University Service of Germany. Deputy Prime Minister Phúc lauded the productive relationship in education and described the Vietnam-German University project as a model for cooperation between Vietnam and localities of foreign countries. Phúc stressed that Vietnam and Germany reached a consensus on developing the university into a leading research and training center in Vietnam, meeting international standards. Vietnam seeks further support from Germany in education, economy, politics, and technology, Phúc said, adding that joint research to curb consequences of climate change should be a priority. For his part, Professor Gawami said the state of Hen Sen has paid heed to the enhancement of ties with Vietnam, particularly in education. He told his host about the progress of the two sides' joint projects on research and infrastructure construction, such as the transfer of clean water technology serving the education sector in Vietnam. Moving on to other news, Chinese Party General Secretary and State President Xi Jinping hosted a reception in Beijing on February 29th for Wang Bingguan, head of the Party Central Committee's External Relations Commission and Special Envoy of the Party General Secretary Nguyen Phu Trọng. Guan briefed the Chinese leader on the outcome of the 12th National Congress of the Communist Party of Vietnam. He expressed his wish that the two sides will consistently implement the common perceptions of senior leaders of their parties and states, strengthen cooperation in all spheres, maintain peace and stability, and properly settle maritime issues. Guan also affirmed that the party and state of Vietnam will persistently pursue its foreign policy of independence, self-reliance, peace, cooperation and development, and attaching importance to the friendly neighborliness and comprehensive cooperation with their Chinese counterparts. General Secretary and State President Xi Jinping congratulated the success of the 12th National Party Congress and Party General Secretary Nguyen Phu Trọng re-election. The Chinese leader stressed that developing the traditional friendship between China and Vietnam is in accordance with the fundamental interests of the two nations and their people. He expressed his hope that the two sides will improve the political trust, increase high-level meetings, promote the strategic cooperation, and well-control disagreements so as to develop the bilateral relationship in a stable and healthy manner. Earlier, Guan held talks with head of the International Liaison Department under the Chinese Party Central Committee's Song Tao. The two sides discussed measures to beef up relations between the two parties and countries in the coming time. Regarding the East Sea issue, Guan suggested the two sides respect each other's legitimate interests, strictly implement the signed agreements, not change the status quo or conduct militarization. The UK Financial Times has published an article saying Vietnam is set to become the biggest beneficiary of the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal out of the 4 Southeast Asian participants, also including Brunei, Malaysia and Singapore. According to the article, the deal will help Vietnam promote garment exports in the coming time, and that the Vietnamese government should speed up economic restructuring while giving a push to the privatization of state-owned enterprises. The 12-country pact, covering about 40% of the world's economy, will grant Vietnamese manufacturers tariff-free access to several potential markets. After being approved, the trade deal will help Vietnamese businesses penetrate their products into large markets such as the US, Japan, and Australia. This will boost demand for Vietnamese exports and create a wealth of new jobs at home. The sectors that stand to benefit the most are apparel, footwear, and textiles, which together accounted for 26% of Vietnamese exports in 2014. According to the World Trade Organization, U.S. import tariffs on Vietnamese-made footwear can be as high as 48%, while certain items of clothing can be levied tax of 20%. TPP will cut the tariffs to zero or close to zero, depending on the goods, promising to accelerate an already steady increase in Vietnamese exports of footwear to the U.S., which rose 23% in 2015. TPP will also help Vietnam's share of apparel and footwear imports by the U.S. double to 30% by 2020. Vietnam exported more than 1 million tons of rice worth $445 million in the first 2 months of this year, doubling that of 2015 in terms of both volume and value.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development said the volume of rice exported in February is estimated at 523,000 tons to the tune of $228 million. The surge in rice export earnings is largely due to rising imports from the Philippines and Indonesia, while the price increases by 40%. In the first 2 months of 2016, Vietnam's rice exporters had to complete government-to-government deals with the Philippines and Indonesia. The Mekong Delta farmed about 1.54 million out of 1.56 million plant hectares in the winter's spring crop. localities have harvested about 120,000 hectares with an average productivity of 6.3 to 6.4 tons per hectare. In 2015, Vietnam exported 6.5 million tons for $2.68 billion, a decrease of 3.94% in value. Asian countries were the main buyers, accounting for 74.5% of exports, followed by Africa, 13.77%, and the US, 6.72%.
The Ministry of Health has reported that no case of Zika virus have been recorded in Vietnam. More details coming up next.
The Ho Chi Minh City-based Pasteur Institute reported that samples taken from dengue patients in 2015 tested negative for Zika. In early 2016, 83 patients from locality that have high prevalence of Aedes mosquito, the main transmitter of the virus with symptoms similar to Zika, also tested negative for the virus, according to the institute. The ministry, however, warned that there was a high risk the virus could enter the country. The ministry will continue collecting samples from suspected cases in localities to detect the disease and prevent it from spreading. It advised pregnant women or those who want to get pregnant in the next 6 months not to travel to Zika-hit countries. Travelers from Zika-stricken countries should keep an eye on their health within 12 days since their arrival to Vietnam. They should go to medical facilities when they begin to experience unusual symptoms, the ministry said. People are recommended to use mosquito repellent and securely cover all containers of water to prevent mosquitoes from entering them and laying eggs. According to the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control, by February 25th, the virus has circulated in 43 countries and territories, mostly in South America, the Caribbean, and the Pacific Ocean.
Vân Long ecotourism site in the Red River Delta province of Ninh Bình was selected for the filming of the Hollywood movie Kong, Skull Island. Its management board and locals are ready for the film shooting, which is scheduled to start on March 9th.
Located about 80 kilometers south of Hanoi, the Vân Long ecotourism site in Gia Viễn district is an attractive tourist destination, especially during weekends. In Vân Long, visitors have the opportunity to admire charming natural landscapes and discover the typical wetland ecosystem in the Red River Delta. Local people have welcomed the film staff. Images of their hometown will be introduced worldwide once the film goes to theaters in March next year. Hundreds of locals will be selected for walk-on roles in the film. We hope that through the film, people around the world will know Vân Long. We are very happy and proud of that. According to the management board, the scenes will be shot in several places, and preparations are completed.
We've done several jobs to support the film crew, such as joining them to study the locations for filming, clearing the environment, ensuring high enough water levels, and maintaining social order.
The movie, to be shot in Vietnam in 5 weeks, started filming in Phong Nha World Heritage Site in the central province of Quảng Bình on February 22nd, and will finish in another World Heritage Site, Hạ Long Bay, in the northeastern province of Quảng Ninh.
And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thank you for your attention. For more information, please log on to our website at www.vietnamplus.vn. We'll see you soon.